Okay, I'm making this video, this animation, I'm sorry, this screencast for my sports nutrition class. That's why the slides have this color and these fonts. But I'm going to use this also for my online nutrition class. So this will work for either class. The idea that the body has to shift fat around is mostly due to the fact that fat cannot dissolve in water, right? So if you're eating triglycerides, you break them down into fatty acids, the fatty acids get absorbed. Those get built back into triglycerides in the small intestine, okay? The fat that you eat gets rebuilt once it's absorbed in the small intestine. So the problem is, how do you ship fat from the small intestine to the body? And what the small intestines make is this giant particle called a chylomicron. It looks like a cell. It's not a cell. It doesn't have a nucleus or anything like that. It's a big giant ball with a skin made of phospholipid, and inside it you pack dietary fat and dietary cholesterol. And that leaves the small intestine after a meal. Millions of these leave the small intestine after a meal. And they go cruising around the body, kind of like a giant aircraft carrier packed full of fat. And as they come up to cells, there's an enzyme on the cell called lipoprotein lipase, and it cleaves the fat from the chylomicron, brings those fatty acids into the cells. Then the cells also remake a triglyceride, and the fat that you ate ends up as a triglyceride in tissues of the body. Chylomicrons cruise around for 6 to 8 hours. They finally become empty. When they're empty, they're taken up by the liver, and you basically have now shipped all of your dietary fat. You know, for athletes, by the way, this means the fat that you eat doesn't give you any immediate energy, because fat that you eat is in transit. It's actually being shipped. It's not available for fuel. That's fat that you eat. Now, if you make fat, that's different. That's the liver, right? So let's get to the liver. Excuse me. Fat that's made in the liver and cholesterol that's made in the liver, you may need to ship that fat out or that cholesterol out. Cholesterol is used to make testosterone. Maybe you need to ship cholesterol to the testes. Cholesterol is used to make estrogen. Maybe you need to ship cholesterol out to the ovaries, right? So you make the fat and cholesterol in the liver. You package it in a ball that's much smaller than the chylomicron, but not made in the small intestine. It's made in the liver. It leaves as a VLDL, called very low density lipoprotein, but that immediately or quickly becomes what we call the LDL, low density lipoprotein. These are packed with fat and cholesterol, kind of like a UPS van leaving the UPS facility in West Sacramento, cruising around Sacramento for 2 days. This driver has not had a break. She or he are totally high on a 5-hour energy drink. They cruise around for 2 days. They drop off their packages, their fat and cholesterol. Eventually, it becomes a little tiny particle called a remnant, and it's taken back to the liver. That's how you ship fat. But obviously, people order lots of stuff from Amazon. Sometimes they don't want that stuff. They want to ship that stuff back. Well, UPS has other vehicles. Those are called HDL. HDL are also made in the liver. They go out empty. They're doing pickup. They cruise around the body, scavenging cholesterol from the artery walls, from dead cells, and they bring that back to the liver. LDL ships out, HDL ships back. Heart disease is associated with LDL. The more you have, the more you have issues with your arteries. That's why LDL is called bad cholesterol. HDL is the opposite. The higher your HDL, the lower your heart disease risk. Those who have the highest HDL have the lowest risk of heart disease. Women naturally have more HDL than men because of estrogen. Estrogen promotes HDL production. Women have much lower rates of heart disease or death due to a heart attack before menopause. After menopause, they stop making estrogen, their HDL levels change, their arteries become more constrictive, and in fact, women have such high rates of heart disease during and following menopause, they catch up to men by about age 75. Men are dying early and young and often. Women are waiting till menopause, but we all catch up. LDL is the bad, HDL is the good.